Generally, people always assume that the energy business is the one to focus on, and I agree. I think they are an important sector to focus on. But I think the other sectors that have huge leverage, and through that leverage have the potential to stimulate jobs, are organizations or sectors like the banking industry, the insurance sector, and the retail sector. And I say that because those sectors have huge value chains, and in the process of having those huge value chains, we need to see changes in behavior. We need to see greater efficiencies for those industries to be more competitive. And just to give you an example, I'll use Woolworths, which is one that I think we are all familiar with. They've taken huge strides in energy efficiency promotion, and they've certainly been one of the leading players in taking a deeper dive into their supply chain. And in so doing, have actually seen the need to encourage and support agriculture, the agricultural sector, to improve the efficiency in the use of water, the use of energy, even the use of fertilizers, for example.
Adaptation is often an overlooked area when we're talking about climate change and the impact that it might have on businesses. Why is it overlooked, and what opportunities does adaptation present for businesses?
I think adaptation is overlooked by and large because it's not as clear to say how you're going to make money out of it, and it's a long-term issue, and it's an uncertain issue by and large. But we've already had incidents of extreme weather patterns, like floods, like droughts, which have shown us that we need to adapt in terms of our agricultural produce, our tourism industries, all those industries which are really susceptible to climate change impacts. All industries as well which are dependent on water. We know that South Africa is a water scarce country, and with the projections of increasing water scarcity with the impacts of climate change, it becomes important from a sustainability of business point of view. It's very much about managing risk, hence our insurance companies in particular have taken an interest. I think our banking communities as well, because one can imagine that if a whole community was wiped out because of a flood, it impacts on all the banks and insurance companies who have their money vested there, but certainly it also impacts on livelihoods.
The Carbon Disclosure Project has been around for some time now, and the MBI has been key in encouraging the top 100 listed companies in South Africa to become involved in it. How have businesses responded in 2011?
I think we've seen, first of all, an improvement in disclosure. And while disclosure might just appear to be a sharing of numbers, I think the important value add of disclosing your numbers is that having a measurement in place, you have a sense then of what your risks and your opportunities are relating to climate change. And South Africa is one of the top performers amongst all the participating countries this year. We're very proud to say that. And then I think the quality of information has also been important, because not only have they disclosed their direct emissions, but that of their employees as well as their supply chains. So I think it has the potential to actually be a leverage point for greater South Africa.
When you talk about moving into a green economy, the question is, should we have the carrot or the stick approach? When we're looking at the stick approach and regulation, how's the regulatory environment in South Africa changed in the way that affects businesses and their approach to becoming more sustainable?
I'd like to start with the voluntary aspects first before we talk about the regulatory environment. I think it's important to say that as part of the improvement that we've seen in big business is the fact that they've actually spent a huge amount of their own money because they've seen the need to transition into a green economy purely for economic reasons as well as for reputational reasons. But we've also seen in South Africa in particular a change in terms of new energy policies coming on stream, and currently we're busy with the white paper on climate change, and I think those are both going to be regulators for improved behavior. We've also seen some incentives coming on board. There are incentives, tax incentives to promote energy efficiency, and I think companies are now at a space where they're able to actually take advantage of those.
Now, apart from these tax incentives, what other incentives has government initiated to encourage companies to become more energy efficient and sustainable?
Well, I think the IDC, the Independent Development Corporation, has put aside money that will be used to especially help assist companies with regard to accessing money for investment in green jobs. The Department of Trade and Industry has also put some money, especially for smaller and medium-sized enterprise. And I think even through the Department of Science and Technology, there are research and development, because I think a very important perhaps area of neglect by the business community has been in putting enough money in research and development. And certainly for us to transition into a green economy, we need to also spend some money on research and development to take that path. And there are tax incentives that are available through the Department of Science and Technology and Treasury that can help to pay for some of the work to transition.
Now, come November, the big focus is going to be the COP17 climate change negotiations that are taking place in Durban. What role can corporate South Africa play in these negotiations?
As the National Business Initiative, what we have done is try and use the little bit of space we've had to foster engagement between negotiators and business to at least understand, and I think that's very important, to understand what the technicalities of the negotiations process are all about and what the implications are for business. I think business has not, and I think that's internationally so, business at large has not understood all the intricacies of some of these negotiation processes. And I think
What do they need to understand most?
I think they need to understand the geopolitics. I think they need to understand some of the risks they're exposed to with regard to possible trade barriers. I think they need to understand how they transition and still are able to do business in a competitive way. I think they need to understand measurement and verification, because if you are going to move collectively as countries and as business in taking a green economy forward, we need to understand how we're going to be telling the truth. How are we going to be sure that we are all moving with the same? So measurement and verifying of any data we produce to say that we are transitioning is fundamental.